Hi, I'm Chris Sangster, and welcome back to the studio. Today I want to take you inside the making of my latest single and the title track from my debut album, Find a Way. The initial idea for Find a Way was this bass line, coupled with this wah stab sound. I made these stabs using the clav sound on my Korg SV1 keyboard and then running it through a wah-wah pedal. I was really intrigued by this sound as it sorta sounded like a guitar and sorta sounded like a keyboard. It was something new but familiar, which is a characteristic of production that I really like. I knew I wanted to flesh out this idea further once I had these initial elements in place. To build the track, I started by layering some live bass over the keyboard bass line I had already established. Then it was on to finding a good drum pattern. I established the initial pattern by playing drum samples with my MIDI keyboard along with the bass and keys. I then layered in some different samples of percussion and even a bit of vinyl record crackle to give it some old school feel. I then used Logic's drummer to add some more live feel to the choruses. At this point, I knew the drum sounds weren't really that great, but the pattern was established enough for me to move on to the synth elements and the overall arrangement of the song. I knew I wanted it pretty sparse in the verse and much bigger in the choruses, so I achieved that by adding most of the synth elements in the choruses. All of the synths in this tune come from either Sculpture or Alchemy, which are two of the stock synths in Logic Pro. I also used the Logic Pro organ to add some variety to the keyboard sounds in the second verse. At this point, the track sounded like this. Definitely still a raw demo, as you can hear, but it was good enough for me to start writing the lyrics too. I had a concept and I wanted to call the song Find a Way, and I wanted to make it about a journey of self-discovery. Then my good friend Brett Steelhammer helped co-write the rest of the lyrics with me. This was the very first song I did of the tracks that ended up on the album, and it really served as both the impetus for the project and the spiritual core of the narrative. It led me down the path of writing more songs about my personal journey, and the mantra, find a way, that really serves as the connective tissue throughout the entire album. You actually hear those lyrics on a few other songs on the album. Once the bones of the track and the lyrics were done, it was time to really work on the production because, as you heard, it was still pretty rough. A lot of time was spent on the drums. Getting the sonics and the groove on drums right is super important to me, especially because I'm not a drummer. I spend a lot of time in my production process on drums. I ended up using a similar technique on all the songs on the album to achieve the drum tone. It involves using Logic's drummer as a starting point, then tweaking the pattern, layering in a bunch of samples, and then adding live hi-hat and live percussion to achieve the final sound. And I stuck pretty close to using the same samples throughout the whole album to try to give it a cohesive tone. One part that I added very late in the production process was the double time hi-hat in the choruses. This part really took the groove over the top for me and was actually inspired by kind of an unlikely source. So one day I was listening to the Boz Scaggs album Silk Degrees, yacht rock classic, And in his song Lowdown, he has this double tracked hi-hat. It's panned hard left and right. On the left, the hi-hat is playing 16th notes, and on the right, it's playing quarter notes. It's really prominent throughout the song, and it sounds so cool. So this gave me the idea, like maybe I should try something like that on Find a Way to really amp up the chorus. And although I didn't go with as obvious a wide pan as in Lowdown, there are two hi-hat parts in the chorus to Find a Way, one playing 16th notes panned a little left, and one playing 8th notes panned a little right. Cheers for that, boss. I tried many times to incorporate more guitar into this song. Since guitar is my main instrument, I felt like it needed a more prominent guitar part somewhere in the song. But after trying many ideas, a complementary wah part, a lead part, rhythmical chords, on and on, just nothing stuck. So the only guitar part in the song is this very subtle chord wash in the chorus. I always try to do what's best for the song while producing, and in this case, what was best for the song was less guitar. The final vocals were the last thing to go on the record, and I recorded a lot of parts for this song. My technique for the vocals on the whole album was actually inspired by Tame Impala. He tends to layer his main vocals with two other tracks of him singing the same part, but in a very light falsetto. They tend to be panned hard left and right and sent to a ton of reverb. So I did a similar thing on this song. I wanted to achieve kind of a shadow effect with these high doubles. On their own, they sound, well, pretty bad, to be honest. Bad habits and good whiskey, they bring me to my knees, oh. But when they're tucked behind the lead and highly affected, they create this shadow effect behind the vocals. Almost as if you've applied a shadow effect to text in Photoshop. It just makes it a little more bold and makes it stand out a little more. Bad habits and good whiskey, they bring me to my knees, oh. Then for the chorus, I added more layers of full voice doubles and harmonies to really amp up the energy. Find a way to the bottom of this bottle that I drank. And then the bridge is where I got crazy with vocal layering. It's got 3 lead parts and 2 background parts, a total of 22 vocal tracks. Yeah, it was my little subtle nod to my days in college a cappella. It's a mystery on this highway. Find a way. It's a mystery. Find a way. After all that was done, it was time to mix and master. I mixed the song here in my home studio, and the mastering was done by the incomparable Ian Shepherd. I hope you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look at my latest single, Find a Way. The entire album is available on streaming platforms, and the music video is live on my YouTube channel. You can find the links for those and my contact information in the description below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you at the studio next time. Thanks.